Hello and welcome back everybody to the MiTH Pro Gaming League season number 6, sponsored by Gigabyte, SteelSeries, ViewSonic, as well as the Secret Shop Philippines. So huge shout out to them for actually making this possible. But in any case, we are looking at the best of 3 series between Rave and MiTH Trust. We are at game number 2 already. Rave, they took game number 1 rather convincingly, and the GG was just completely anticlimactic. But in any case, hopefully this game will be a little bit more even, more action. But we are HeflaTV, of course, the English coverage here for you. I am Coucher, and once again, I am joined by Mike Lores.
And once again, it looks like we're going to be seeing very similar bans to the last game, but oh man, I think really the problem last game for MiTH was that they were trying to fight in a 4v5 game because their anti-mage just didn't actually do anything to contribute as far as killing heroes are concerned, and also their Wraith King didn't really have much going for them, and when you don't have those heroes doing anything, then suddenly you're in a very awkward position where you can't actually do anything because you're always fighting with numbers down. So MiTH Trust, well, hopefully for their sake, they're going to pull out something a little bit different because I don't think the just sit back and do nothing role with the anti-mage is really going to cut it. Not like, especially against Rave, but even just in this metagame in general.
Yeah, completely agree with you there. So maybe they will go for something different. Of course, some teams in general take a little bit longer to just adapt to the changes of a new patch, for example. Like Navi in 6.81, they really never hit their stride at all. Like no matter how long it took pretty much. But in any case, Rave, they do have the first pick, and the bans, I think 100% the same as last game, right?
Yeah, it looks
Just
about
maybe
the same.
from some bans, maybe from different teams, but all in all the same 4 heroes banned out. But Rave, do they also value the Doombringer as highly as MiTH, or are they like, screw that hero, not worth it, we want to be aggressive a little bit earlier, and well, Centaur is the pick for them.
Yeah, and Centaur did some pretty good work, so it's not broken, then don't fix it. If the Centaur gets his blink up, then we're going to be seeing those very aggressive plays once again. Stampede was very nice at keeping Rave out of harm's way, and MiTH Trust, well, Skywrath Mage is going to be their first pickup. Are they really going to go for Doom? Are we going to be seeing the exact same draft again?
It might happen, to be honest. I'm hoping for something different. I mean, I guess you can start the same. Skywrath Mage is a strong hero, as is the Doombringer in his own right. If you can just get enough space early. And actually he got like, what, I think a 10-minute MiTH last game. So it wasn't all that bad, to be honest. Just wasn't able to contribute really all that much into the fights. But Skywrath Mage, I would really like to see something more aggressive. And oh, a Legion Commander duel into Mystic Flare. It can work.
This is the first game that I'm going to cast with Legion Commander in it. It's been banned before, and I just have been so bummed out about that, but I'm so happy to see this hero. I have no idea where she's going to go, but I'm just excited.
So am I. I mean, really, that was actually the last game was the first Terror Blade I have seen or casted myself, not seen, and Legion Commander now. So we're getting there, getting to all the heroes picked, casted. Also, I'm still looking for some Medusa and Husker as well. I casted them like once or twice, but that was a long time ago, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
That might be a little bit too hopeful, but I'm pretty sure with this Legion Commander pick, Rave are going to have some pretty high chances of picking up a Legion, not a Legion, a Terrorblade of their own. Again, it worked well for them last game, so why not go for it again? So Legion, the theory crafting behind her is that I want to see her in a solo lane. Solo mid seems like a pretty nice place for a Legion. Get a whole bunch of points into the overwhelming odds and then just nuke the crap out of people. And then, you know, try to make some rotations happen with your support in order to get some early duel damage up. But Legion, I don't really know that much about her as far as how she's going to perform. So unfortunately, I can't really offer much in that regard. But what I can say is that dual Mystic Flare is legit, as you said. And, well, Rave, they're going to go for Vengeful Spirit Centaur once again. They're just going to go for the exact same thing. It worked.
I mean, why fix something that ain't broken, really? And like I said in the last draft as well, they do love the Vengeful Spirit. They've been running it for so damn long already, to be honest, on Ninja Boogie. Ever since Ninja Boogie transitioned into a support, most of the time I do see him on the Vengeful Spirit. But Legion Commander, actually, I've only seen him in one game as well in competitive. It was yesterday, Virtus Pro versus Fnatic, I think it was. It really didn't do all that much for the first 30 minutes or so. But suddenly Virtus Pro still managed to turn it around in the end. But I do believe they also played it in the mid lane, God playing it. So you were right on that part. As I myself would also like to see Legion in a solo role, just to make sure that you do get those guaranteed levels.
Well, looks
But
like the second banning phase is going to be the exact same as the last one too. This is so weird. I don't think I've seen two games being replicated like this. I don't know if Viper was banned out there, but it seems for the most part to be very similar.
I
And
think it was actually.
it
So,
was?
oh
Oh my
man,
gosh.
this game. Nature's Prophet though, it's a different ban. I think at the very least. Rave though, I have to say, Chrissy, he plays a sick Nature's Prophet. It is one of the best Nature's Prophets I have seen, at least in some MPGL, maybe the last or the fourth one, the fourth leg, but he played literally like Admiral Bulldog level Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, and he has a pretty good Centaur War Runner as well. So, Nature's Prophet or Centaur doesn't really matter because Chrissy clearly at home with both of these heroes. And I really want to see how MiTH are going to complement this Legion pickup. I think for the most part, she's a pretty well self-sustained hero in lane, so you don't really have to worry too much about that. Her matchups, I can imagine her having some pretty bad ones, especially like up against the really powerhouse mid heroes. If she's up against a Brewmaster, probably not going to have the best times, or an Invoker as well. So I could see that happening. I would just like to see MiTH get a whole bunch of damage that they could put into the duel. Kind of like a Faceless Void Chronosphere, kind of have it behave the same way. Once you duel someone, you want to bring them down super, super quickly.
It's definitely a priority number one, I think, for them. Because otherwise, if you can't bring them down, well, I guess if you don't lose your own life, it's not all that bad. But if Rave somehow managed to actually get the counter kill during the duel, it's gonna hurt so damn much. So, MiTH are definitely, I think, gonna have to build a little bit around the Legion Commander. Right? I mean, Scar of Mage is all good and well, but they need a little bit more, just in a sense that, yes, if they use all of it on one hero, they can get that one hero down rather fast, get some damage for Legion, but maybe, depending on what kind of lineup Rave goes for, just bursting down that one hero might not be enough completely. So they need something else as well, just... We'll see what they want to go for though. Last game, Rave King was the secondary support, didn't work out in the slightest, but it's not like it's a bad hero in general, so they're gonna go for it again.
I think I've seen this before, and I know how it ends. Something also to consider is the fact that Vengeful Spirit swap is going to be keeping her teammates safer as the Legion Commander for the most part. So, yeah, Rave, they're actually going to go for something a little bit different. It's going to be the Witch Doctor. Gotta say, I didn't really expect this one coming. Usually don't see Witch Doctor without first getting some large AoE disables, Ravage, Chronosphere, something like that. He's a powerful hero by himself, but picking him up this early without any sort of synergy is a little bit questionable, I would say.
Maybe they still have just something coming for us. Tide Hunter is one possibility, I guess, if they want to run the Tide or the Centaur in a tri-lane. I have
Put him
no
mid
clue
versus
really.
Legion.
Well, it definitely could be, like you said, mid versus Legion as well, so... Ravage definitely would be a pretty good enough setup for the Death Ward. Other than that, what other heroes could they go for? Something like an Enigma, potentially?
That would be pretty awkward, but it would work decently with what MiTH have right now. I mean, they have Wraith King Legion, two melee heroes, so MiTH are going to be looking to avoid melee picks in the future, and Rave actually have some fantastic punishment for melee heroes, and with now a third melee hero from MiTH, this could get to a really awkward situation where Rave are just going to get so much guaranteed value off of all their skills, whether it's Death Ward, Maledict, Hoof Stomp, or Double Edge, because MiTH are going to be so inherently clumped up. I mean, Tidehunter, Wraith King, and I would say Legion are all decent enough heroes, but you don't really want to have all of them on the same team just because you're going to cluster up so much.
I'm now hoping for a Magnus Witch Doctor combination with Witch Doctor actually going for Maledict as well. It's something that I have thought of for so long for now, but those two heroes have never seen the light of day together on the same lineup, at least I haven't seen them. And even then, it's not the easiest of combination to pull off and really not all that reliable, but it's just a fun thing I would like to see. Something like a Meepo plus Troll Warlord, for example, just with the Battle Trance.
Well, looks like they're just going to go right back to game number 1 and pick up the Jakiro. So, what a surprise. Again, Jakiro, we saw how powerful he could be last game. I think he's going to be even more powerful this game just because MiTH do have that many melee heroes, so Liquid Fire is going to be hitting more people, as will everything else on Jakiro's arsenal. So the Ice Path, Macropyre, it's a lot of just chaotic AoE being thrown around. It's not the greatest combination with the Death Ward, but these three heroes, Jakiro, Witch Doctor, Vengeful Spirit, they're just such early game powerhouses, especially versus such a melee-heavy lineup, that Rave are going to have, again, early game dominance. And last time picked up a Terrorblade, Not this time, unfortunately, but something like a Phantom Assassin might not be too bad, or really anyone. Maybe this is the Medusa game.
Oh man, yes please! Yes please. The mana shield is actually ridiculously strong, to be honest. It even got buffed a little bit in the last patch, right?
I think so, yeah.
So it's definitely a possibility for them, as Morphling was once again banned out by Rave, so Nola kills Morphling to come out. But MiTH, what do they go for as the last one? I guess we're expecting Legion to be in the mid lane with Tidehunter being on the off lane, so that leaves Rave King, Skyraf +1 to be the safe lane. I guess Rave King could also be the core one if they really want to, and actually Ancient Apparition pick here, so might be looking for an aggressive tri lane even, possibly.
Yeah, that is definitely on the table. Not the hero that I really expected. A great hero with the Tidehunter, and the fact that they only have two ranged heroes makes this Ancient Apparition pick a little bit weaker, but it is definitely a hero that could help out the Legion Commander a lot. Like, if someone is being dueled up and they hit with an Ice Blast, they're 100% screwed. That being said, these lanes of MiTH are most likely going to be Ancient Apparition, Wraith King, Skarath Mage. As powerful as those three heroes are together, Rave should be prepared for that one. Just because Jakiro, Witch Doctor, Vengeful Spirit, if that is the tri-lane for them, and they would probably want to lane it defensively as they did in the last game, they're going to have a pretty easy time, or at the very least, they're going to have a fighting chance.
They're definitely gonna, I mean, Ancient Apparition Ice Blast, it can be strong. Will it be strong enough? That's a whole another question. Of course, it depends how early you can get at level 6 and how good you will be. And Rave, picking up a Drow Ranger now, they actually have a pretty sick amount of push. Vengeance Aura, plus the Drow Ranger buffing up all the damage for the ranged heroes. Then Liquid Fire and just Witch Doctor with the Voodoo Restoration keeping everything alive. Oh man, it could be a fast GG again if Rave get off to a good start. But hoping for the series' sake overall to see a third game, I hope just MiTH will do a little bit better than last time.
Man, I'm kind of bummed out by this Drow Ranger pick because this game looked so good for Medusa. Like, there wasn't any great counters on MiTH's side, and Rave had such a solid early game that they could have gotten away with it. But going for the Drow Ranger is, it's another one of those kind of fringe heroes, and I guess I can't be too upset about seeing it, especially if it's going to be played mid lane by Jao. So Drow Ranger solo mid is going to be handled by him, and Royer up on top lane is going to be getting his Jakiro one more time. Chrissy on the Centaur again, Ninja Boogie on the Vengeful Spirit again. This leaves Cass on the Witch Doctor.
And for MiTH, Lakels will be playing the Rave King, so she will be a core Rave King, as to be expected, I guess, with the supports. But ST will be the Skyraf Mage, leaving Boombell to support on the Ancient Apparition. MyPro once again heading towards the mid lane, this time around on the Legion Commander though, with KYT on the offlane Tidehunter. Man, this Legion Commander, all eyes on him. Or her.
Yeah. I want to see what this Legion can actually bring to the table. Versus the Drow Ranger, it's not the worst lineup for Legion Commander, but if Drow Ranger focuses Frost Arrows, then the Legion is not going to have that much of a great time. Outside of rotations from the supports, which could be pretty devastating.
Yeah, and actually ST might go down for the first part. He already got stunned up. Concussive Shot does help out a little bit. They need something more. Actually, Ninja Boogie or Cast. Yeah, Ninja Boogie. He couldn't get in range for the Magic Missile. So ST actually does make it out. 325 base movement speed, man. Pretty damn good.
Yeah, Skarath Mage is one of the fastest heroes in the game. I think probably like tied with Luna, I want to say, and then or CK or something like that. Luna, CK, Skarath are all pretty damn quick, and yeah, staring intently at this mid lane as MyPro. Overwhelming odds is a very nice nuke against the pretty fragile Drow Ranger, and I would expect, a pretty standard just bottle opening from the Legion Commander, then try to go for something along the lines of a blink. MiTH Trust don't really have any great tools in order to get in the face of the Drow Ranger until the Wraith King gets his blink, until the Legion gets her blink. Once that happens, then Jao is not going to have the best of times. The swap out can only do so much in saving your Drow once those two heavy hitters get right up into her face.
And actually swap can be a really nice thing overall against duel, to be honest. Just to make sure that you're not going to give away any damage. But at the moment, who do you think has just the upper hand in the laning situation overall?
Well, I think it's going to benefit Rave for quite a long time, but again, the X factors are going to be these two roaming supports. MiTH Trust, they're leaving the Wraith King down in the bottom lane, which is not going to be great times for him. Just for a Centaur Warrunner, that's not a great matchup for Wraith King in and of itself. So these two supports roaming are going to have to make something happen, and I don't think they're going to, because Ninja Boogie is going to spot them all out. These supports are probably not going to get anything for quite a long time, and at that point, top lane is going to be pretty easily won by the Jakiro. Mid lane is going to be handled pretty well by the Drow, and bottom lane's on lockdown as well, so Rave have all these lanes pretty much under control outside of these two supports. And if they keep these two supports under control as well, then MiTH Trust are just going to get obliterated in this early stage.
To be honest, I can't think of... Well, I guess I could if I really wanted to, but... Supports roaming around and not getting anything, it's just so damn devastating for your entire team because they're not getting levels, they're not getting gold, and there's really no comeback either. I mean, if it's a Sand King, you can just roam around and stack in between the roams and still just have a comeback method, farm up the jungle fast. But they have smoked up now SD and Boombell. They're gonna have to find something because if they just waste like the first 3-4 minutes of the game not getting anything done, they might be just royally screwed already.
Well, they're smoked up and they have a concussive shot ready. Boombell doesn't have a level. Oh, he does actually. Just got Chilling Touch. And they're looking for something now as Tidehunter does have a very early point Gush. Ninja Boogie, if he gets hit with his Gush, then he's probably going to go down. There it is. The Chilling Touch damage should be enough to bring him down. And I think it will yield 12 HP. One more right click. There it is. First Blood is going to be claimed by the Skywrath Mage. They get something, but it's on a support. I don't know if that's good enough, especially if Boombell dies in return. He's not going to. Taking quite a bit of damage from those dots, but he will survive. I mean, it's exactly what MiTH need to do, getting kills like that, especially since their lanes are so weak, but they need to be getting more important heroes. Vengeful Spirit dying isn't a terribly huge deal for Rave.
It definitely isn't. At the very least, it was the first blood, so making it just that little bit sweeter, getting that kill. Still the laning phase, though, looking at it. The top 3 last hitters so far are just every single core hero on Rave. So if it just continues like this, it might look extremely bad, but of course, like I mentioned previously, once the Blink Daggers start coming out on MiTH, might change, as actually Boombell taking a lot of damage from Ninja Boogie, no boots though, he needs like one more right click, but Boombell already has his own boots, so we'll outrun the Vengeful.
Unfortunately for Vengeful, that item probably would have gotten her a kill, but still she's doing some pretty heavy damage right now, just with Magic Missile. She is still level 1, but she just completely messed up that Ancient Apparition, who, I guess to be fair, is also level 1, but the Drow Ranger is eventually going to make it so that the Rave supports and the Jakiro as well are going to be able to do stuff like that and get away with it. They're going to be dishing out so much damage once the Drow Ranger gets to level 6 and then level 10, level 11, that kind of area. Drow Ranger is really going to peak her team out, and that's really scary. And unlike most times when you see Drow Ranger, you know, doing very well, adding a lot of damage for her team, but dying a lot, she has a Centaur to hide behind. So Rave, they're going to have this one melee tanky hero in order to get some frontline, and that could be the difference between a good Drow Ranger game and a terrible one.
It definitely could be. I mean, Rave, they're definitely gonna have to make sure that the Drow Ranger actually can right-click freely in the fights. Because, apart from her, I guess yes, early game, mid-game, Jakiro can still offer quite a lot as well. A potential good death ward every now and then. But Cheo, he's going to be pretty much the highest source of damage for their team. So they're gonna have to make sure that he's having a good enough time in positioning and everything else. But we do see another just smoke gang coming in from MiTH, and can they make it another success for them?
Well, Jakiro is definitely a lot further up than he was before, and Ninja Boogie also in the area, especially if they go for KYT. This is the worst time for Rave to go in, as Ninja Boogie to take a truckload of damage. Chilling Touch is up, and Ninja Boogie is going to be the first one to fall. Royer, still with the Liquid Fire available, is going to try to go for the Skywrath Mage. The Liquid Fire should burn him down, especially if one more hit lands. The Liquid Fire is going to get him, and now going to go for Boombell. I think I saw this before. This probably happened last game. Liquid Fire is going to kill him off, and now here comes MyPro with the duel. I don't think they can kill off Royer, especially with Ninja Boogie coming in with the stun onto MyPro. The overwhelming odds are going to miss. Did they really just miss? Liquid Fire might kill off MyPro right here. This is going to be another 3 kill in favor of Rave, as Royer is going to get away. No, Legion Panther looks like she will barely slip away. Royer is still taking a lot of damage, but stun from Ninja Boogie will kill off the Skywrath Mage, and Royer gets to live. That is going to be 3 kills for Rave. This is exactly what last game.
No! Say it ain't so. And in the meantime, Rave King also goes down bottom lane. So, man, just this Jakiro, holy crap! I just had the lack for words. Just literally almost at least close enough to the exact same thing happened in game number 1. It's deja vu, man. The Matrix is getting broken here.
When will MiTH learn? Don't do that. It's dangerous. Jakiro is very tanky, deceptively so, and level 3 Liquid Fire. It does a lot of damage, plus it's on a very low cooldown. So the longer it takes for you to kill the Jakiro, the more dots you're taking. So just like that, Rave are going to feel so much more comfortable about their laning situation, especially if they run into this Legion Commander. Cass is going to show his face, but they're instead going to go for the bottom lane Lakells. The teleportation is coming in, and Chrissy's got to run away right now. Here comes KYT. Has a Ravage, will use it. Chrissy is pretty much down for the count. There goes the Centaur. Can they get anything else? MyPro looking for a duel, maybe just to get the disable off. Although I think this should be it. Lakel's doesn't have a blink dagger or anything like that, so getting a kill on the Centaur is really nice, but they did put 4 heroes down the bottom lane in order to get that happen.
It's definitely a pretty big investment for them just rotating in like that. At the very least, MiPro didn't use a TP or anything, just ran all the way there. Couldn't get the duel on anybody, unfortunately. Definitely you want to start racking up the duel damage as early as you possibly can. But mid lane, a stun onto Jay or slow rather coming out. They get the additional slow from the Ice Vortex and should be an easy kill with the duel. Oh yes! He actually got the duel just as the hero died, so first points of damage stolen.
Yep, didn't even hit him with the duel, just automatically won. They're going to go for the bottom lane now. Lakel's and KYT both getting hit with the cast multiple times, in fact. Lakel's going to be bursted down before KYT can do anything, and now the heal's out from cast. That was some really lucky bouncing from the cask. I don't know if it really made the difference there, but it held the Tidehunter out, so they took a lot less damage, Rave, from the Tide than they really should have.
So in the end, a 1-for-1 pretty much at the moment. Mid laner for a safe lane farm, and Rave King, what? He really has only 4 last hits? That's not where you want your core Rave King to be at. 7 or 8 minutes into the game even. Certainly feels like has the same amount of farm that the support Rave King did last game.
And we all know how well that hero did. It pretty much did nothing. They're going to jump right in for KYT down on bottom. Ice Path is going to be lined up. Will land, however, Chrissy taking a lot of damage. Royer going to throw out a dual breath. Has the mech available, but not the mana to cast it. Now MiPro going to try to fight this one out. Chris cast doesn't actually have another stun, so they're going to back off for now. But yeah, the Wraith King was pretty much facing up against a Witch Doctor Centaur dual lane without any supports whatsoever. So it's completely understandable to see why this Wraith King doesn't have anything, but they need this Wraith King to have stuff. A farm Tidehunter and a Legion with a little bit of farm isn't going to win you a game.
It's definitely, I mean, I guess it can win you the game, but pretty much all the stars have to be aligned for the entirety of the game. Especially now that Rave also gets themselves a tier 1 tower on the bottom lane. Draw Ranger finishes up his Hand of MiTH. And do they actually keep on going here? Cast is a little bit low on mana. They don't have Arcane Boots quite yet. There's the Overwhelming Odds, just doing some damage to Chikira, but they have the mech if necessary. I would actually advise against going for the tier 2 at the moment, just because you don't really want to give anything away to MiTH for them to just be able to come back even just a little.
At mid, they're going to agree with you. They're going to jump in and annihilate Boomville. So easy for the Centaur combination, and they're not going to go for that tower. Very responsible decision, and it's the correct one as well, I would say. With the Precision Aura damage and the Liquid Fire, they could very easily take out the rest of the tier 1s without having to risk themselves jumping into the tier 2s, especially with the mech up as well. Overwhelming Odds is such a great counter-pushing tool, but not if the enemy can sustain themselves like this. The tower's going to be fortified, and they're going to get that fortification back soon enough, and KYT wants to Ravage in. Going to run right in, get hit with an Ice Path, and then run right out. Ninja Boogie also going to run away. So Rave, move in, take the tower, and then back off safe and sound. They're still getting stronger and stronger as time passes, as the Drow Ranger with the Hand of MiTH is going to be getting a truckload of damage, and she still only has level 2 aura, so the damage she can share to her team is going to be a lot larger than plus 20, which is already pretty absurd.
Especially for a support like a Witch Doctor, because Witch Doctor's attack damage and attack animation are pretty good to begin with, to be honest. And even Vengeful Spirit, of course, having the Vengeance aura to top it all off as well. It's just looking so extremely good, and just looking at the net worth chart, Rave's 3 cores, they're above 4,000, whereas Legion Commander is just barely above 3, and the other 2 are struggling even more. The graphs as well, already a 5,000 gold lead, XP 2,500, so not as huge, but they have destroyed actually all tier 1 towers already. So once again, Rave, they're just so much better in the early game than MiTH is.
And I don't know what MiTH can do to actually start to overcome this. They need stuff to get in the face of the Drow Ranger, who hasn't really even been playing this game. She's died once, but aside from that, it's just been the other 4 heroes from Rave. And MiTH, they're going to get the mech on the Tidehunter, which is a great item to have, but at the same time, the Ravages aren't going to be there. I think MiTH Trust, really their best bet is getting that really nice crushing 4-man Ravage, and then just taking your fight after that. Because right now, it's going to be MiPro once again, going to be initiated upon, and yeah, he's real dead up on the top lane, and because Royer's in the area, they could go for this tower as well. MiTH, they just seem to have one too few heroes. They're going to get the pick off on Drow Ranger, and that's a really necessary one, but I don't know if it's good enough. They have to do that like 3-4 more times.
Maybe it would be all good and well if they didn't lose a hero themselves, plus losing a tier 2 as well on top of it. But Ice Blast is flying in. It's gonna actually connect onto 3 heroes. So now Voodoo Restoration doesn't do anything. Lakelz comes in from behind as well. They're gonna get cast so damn fast. But the Ice Wave connects on 2. They might get the counter kills. Mystic Player comes through. Ninja Boogie drops down to half HP. But he's still perfectly fine here. Keeps on applying the Liquid Fire. Gets stunned up. But don't think he cares all that much. Ice Path going for the TP out actually. Could have gone for Lakelz for the first kill, I think. MiPro will he get the duel. Yes, he will. Ninja Boogie will go down. So 10 more damage stolen for MiPro. But still, tier 2 tower went down. Objective reached for Rave. Only losing the supports. I think they're perfectly fine.
Getting the angle on that fight was so extremely important, with the Tidehunter coming up from the bottom lane, and then the Wraith King Skywrath coming up from this side shop kind of area. Really, Rave, they're still soft heroes at the end of the day, and if you converge upon them like that, then they're going to have no mobility at their disposal, and Lakelz, crucially, is going to get a couple of assists there and not die, which is pretty much the best thing that MiTH can ask for right now. But Rave, though they did lose that fight, they're not going to be slowed down too much by it. They're going to go straight into the Roshan pit. They have Liquid Fire, and they had Voodoo Restoration. Unfortunately for them, all 5 now are going to be clipped and spotted out by this Ice Blast. Going for this Roshan now is just suicidal, because here comes KYT, does not have a Ravage. He's going to get silenced up and Magic Missile. He's going to get dropped pretty low, although the heal from the Legion Commander, press the attack, is going to keep him out. Death Ward is going to pick him off in the end. Death Ward being channeled onto MiPro, and will kill off the Tidehunter as well. Right back into the Roshan pit, Rave go. They have the Voodoo Restoration working overtime. Here comes the kills. Does have his reincarnation. He's taking a lot of damage. He's going to drop it immediately. Slow onto everyone from Rave. Now swap back on Ninja Boogie, but Chrissy's going to jump right in. 2-man Hoofstomp with a 2-man double edge. He's going to take out 2 immediately. The kills back up for his reincarnation, but Jay on the back end having the time of his life. A shooting gallery for him. Boom Bell going to get clipped with the Ice Path, and he's going to go down as well. That's a full 5-man wipe in exchange for just the Vengeful Spirit kill. That was probably not worth it from MiTH.
If only MiTH had the Ravage, could have been so damn different. Or actually, even if they had a mech finished on the Tidehunter, could have already made a difference there. But just not to be in Rave, they actually played it so damn smart. They were playing the angles there. Every single time MiTH wanted to come in once again, an Ice Path was waiting for them. Every single time. So they just picked off one hero by one, whereas the rest of MiTH just weren't able to do anything to assist really. Now Roshan also went down. 40 minutes in, kill score 13-8. But it's just going that much better than the kill score actually indicates, just because the towers are also falling, and they are pinging down the tower, the tier 2 on the bottom lane. So they're probably just gonna continue the pushes. Blink Dagger picked up on Cheo as well. Has the Aegis, doesn't really have too much to worry about anymore. And man, Rave, can they be stopped here? 10,000 gold lead, 6,000 XP as well. It's looking even better than game 1 did.
A lot of their fight, if not all of MiTH's fight, hinges upon this Tidehunter having Ravage. You said it, if they had Ravage in that Roshan pit fight, then it would have been so much easier for MiTH. It probably still wouldn't have been great for them, but they wouldn't have gotten cleaned up that quickly. They're going to have Ravage, as Rave are going to push down this tier 2 tower, and they're going to catch Ninja Boogie, who's actually going to spot out, but a huge hoof stomp onto 3 with the Silence and Ice Path onto 3 as well. Instantly Legion Commander's down. KYT does get the Ravage out, but now what follow-up is there? The Death Ward's going to be channeled for a very small amount of time. That's a triple kill for Royer. Lakelz on the run, and 15 minutes into the game, that's going to be GG. That was some pretty impeccable Centaur stomping in this game, and holy crap, what a stomp it was.
Well, 50-minute GG. It's safe to say Rave, they just came out all guns blazing in both games, to be honest. They really didn't leave a single doubt in my mind who was the better just team in this series. Solid 2-0 victory.
Yeah, so game number 1 was pretty crushing. I didn't think we could top that, but the damage and MiTH Trust, again, struggling to get anything done. I think really the weakness was in their lanes. The Ancient Apparition and Skywrath, they got a couple of kills, but it definitely wasn't enough. Their protection on the Wraith King was non-existent. He got completely stomped. You can see he has power treads. That's exactly what the support Wraith King had last game by the end of the game. And I mean, Legion has power treads as well. These Rave heroes just didn't get off to the start they wanted, and really the early game picks from Rave turns out to be the game-winning factor.
All I can say, do not gank a Jakiro. That shit doesn't work. Oh man, but guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Unfortunately, the series was a little bit on the short side, but in any case, lots of fun for us. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to drop a follow on this channel, as well as HeflaTV 2 and HeflaMoke on Twitch, as well as our social media, HeflaTV on Facebook and Twitter. And the VODs, Game number 1 already uploaded, Game number 2 shortly after as well, to youtube.com/HeflaMoke. The links are below the stream. And Mike, where can people find you?
I'm going to be Mike Loris on Twitch and Twitter, but you're most likely going to find me on these channels, so just follow the streams, as Coucher said, and that should be just about it. Thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, and we're gonna have more Dota coming, but it's at midnight pretty much, or after midnight, 1 CEST, I think, American Dota. So if you want some more, there's gonna be more, but it's in quite some time, like 6 something hours away, I think. But in any case, it's gonna be just a few songs to finish up the stream, and have a good one.
Later, guys. GG.